Botanique. Botanique. Botanic. Let's bring on an expert on how to pronounce it. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. It may be a few seconds more. And it looks like she has no sound. For our audience watching this and who will be watching on replay, we are broadcasting from Texas to Queensland. Queensland as in Australia. Having a little bit of difficulty connecting there. Try to log back in. I'm Jill Russell. I'm the host of Happy Skin Over 50. I have searched the world wide for guests for this show. And as you can see, when we're going from one side of the equator to the other side of the equator, from one side of the world to the other side of the world, sometimes there can be technical difficulties. That's what's going on right now. We did this a trial run through, and trial seemed to go okay. So we're just trying to get her joining us back again. But remember, our question of the day and the theme for this show is, how do you pronounce Botanaqe? And she's saying that they have flooding there. So hopefully what is it? Hopefully it's not flooding in cyberspace. There are some products, ingredients in some of the products that I'm familiar with that come from another part of the world. We're going to be discussing that a little bit, as well as the other products that will go along with our guests' lines. Lisa, I can see you. And in the process of trying to bring her on, we're still having those technical difficulties. My goodness gracious. We can see you. We can see you. We can see you. We can see you. Cannot hear you. So is your audio on? It should be on from this end. I'm muting and unmuting you. And that's not working. We just can't hear you. We can see your beautiful face. If you're sure that your audio is on, this is what happens with live stream, folks. We could have practiced this, rehearsed it, scripted it, taped it, edited it, and made something just really fancy. And you'd end up with something like an infomercial or something. We just don't do that here. So everything on my end. And my speakers are plugged in. Okay, I unplugged external speakers. I thought that might be it, but it's not.
Me now? Can you hear me now?
Okay, I hear you. I hear you now. So let's see. I had just messaged technical support. We've got you two places. So can you disconnect the first one, Lisa?
Oh, okay. Are you getting an
Or here,
echo?
okay. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Well, we've got you, and we've got that other one removed. So I think we're doing okay. I am
That
gonna.
was a bit crazy.
Yeah. Let's do this. This is gonna be a take two, y'all.
Yeah, just bear with me. I'm just going to shut a door as well. Oh dear, technicalities.
Oh
Sorry,
yes.
we've got. I know you want to start officially in just a minute, but we've had some inclement weather here. We've actually had an extreme weather event. Um, so we've had like flooding and like serious flooding right through the whole of Brisbane where I live and all of the districts around it. So it's raining again now, but we've had 1,000 millimeters of rain over a few days, which is a bit crazy. So it's raining again now, so it's just a little bit nuts.
So you're talking about millimeters. So how many cups would that be, or how many gallons, or how many?
Good question. I would have to, I'd have to calculate it. Let's say millimeters to inches. Yeah, we rain is in inches. So if it's 1,000 millimeters, luckily I'm right here in front of the computer. It's about 40 inches of rain. Does that sound right?
Oh my goodness. Oh, well, that's definitely
A lot.
enough to float something.
A lot. It's a lot. So.
Excuse me, I'm trying to get now we've got technical support on here with us, so
Yeah, no worries.
Get technical support just to say goodbye. They want a rating first, so I'm going to give them a good rating. Okay. I started out because when you and I were talking a week or so ago, we were talking about the name of your business and the name of your company, your product company. And it was like, well, I would pronounce that Botanique, but I think I'm going to ask Lisa how she pronounces it. So that's why we've got the title of this. How do you pronounce Botanique? Botanique. Okay. Lisa Randall is our guest here, y'all. Floating around somewhere in Queensland, Australia. Now, what is the city or province?
We're in a funny little town called Burpengary. So everyone always laughs at that because it's such an unusual name, but it's actually quite a large suburb. It's semi-rural, so we are on acreage where we live, but we're not far from the city of Brisbane. We're about 45 minutes north of Brisbane.
Brisbane. Yeah, okay. Well, Lisa owns her own clinic. She has spa and has also developed products. So we're going to get that question answered straight from Lisa. How is the word pronounced?
Well, we call it here. We say botanic because I just think the sort of more French pronunciation or we'll say a bit poshy pronunciation never really took off here. It was probably the Australian way of just the way it said it. So we just stuck with it. It's fine. It can be either, but we call ourselves Botanic Skin Wellness and Botanic Skin Nutrition. So yeah.
Well, I think that's the Texan pronunciation of it too. Now, maybe in London or in Madrid or in New York, they might pronounce it a different way. I am so excited to have you on here, and really excited since we kind of overcame these technical difficulties that we were having a while ago.
Yeah.
But I do want to start right in, since that is the theme about how do you pronounce Botanic. Tell me about Botanic. That is the name of your business, your spa, your clinic, but also product.
Yeah, the product line of the business is a more recent development that came about 2 years ago. We actually launched it right when the pandemic hit, so that was quite interesting. But it was in the process of getting done, and I didn't want to stop that momentum. The business itself, the wellness spa, really started about 12 years ago, and I was in Melbourne then. I came from California, and I moved to Melbourne in 1989, and I business there primarily as a little massage and skin business. And we then came to Brisbane about 10 years ago, and since then it's really burgeoned and become a little wellness center with a few staff, and we offer quite a wide range of just holistic wellness treatments for skin and body, basically. So I'm more of the skin specialist now. I'm a body worker as well, and a yoga and Pilates teacher, and I'm a nutritional counselor. So my approach to skin is very much from a holistic point of view. I do have some really great staff working here as well who fantastic, do treatments of what we call remedial massage, which therapeutic or massage, as well as we do have many spa treatments here as well. the skin range itself new, and it's exciting for me, all about really starting to get that a little bit more now. Excuse me.
Now, you started this in California, or you started this after you got to Melbourne?
Still there?
Yes, you started this in California, or
I lost you.
you started it in Melbourne? Okay, so we've got technical difficulties.
No, I
again.
started this in Melbourne. I was actually in a different line of work until I was about 40. I'm nearly 60 now. So in Melbourne. You lost me.
I
Can you hear
did.
me?
You were in a different line of work and then you went silent.
Okay, can
silent.
you hear me? Can you hear me
Yes.
now? Yeah, so I established a business in Melbourne. Yeah. And I had trained, I was more in corporate life prior to training as a therapist, and the other things that I ended up going into. So I had a little bit of a midlife crisis, I guess, around 40. And you know, it's well, yeah, I'm nearly 60 now, so it'll be nearly 20 years of being in this in the wellness industry since then. So yeah.
You do use different modalities as well, and different equipment. Radio frequency. Yeah, radio frequency, RF, high frequency, galvanic.
Yeah.
As well, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're a little bit different in Australia because there aren't necessarily as many regulations around what we can offer as estheticians. I know over there it's very much dependent on what state you're in, but for the most part, for instance, I'm laser and IPL trained, so I can offer that service. I can offer needling and deeper depth needling for scarring. We can offer radio frequency. There's a lot of things we can do that we don't have to be necessarily a nurse or a doctor to perform. So it's a little bit less regulated here, which isn't necessarily a good thing. But for people who are diligent and want to train properly, and it's good because you have access to that. So yeah, so we offer those sort of treatments in the business. And obviously we promote our own skincare range as well. So
what is the name of the skincare range or products line?
Botanique. It's Botanique as well. Botanique skin nutrition. So Botanique spelled the same way. BOTANIQUE. Botanique.
Now I was going to when we were having technical difficulty, I was just going to do
that's really a reflection of the fact that it's all botanically based. Yeah.
When we were having some of the technical difficulty, I was going to do a little space filler with something that I think that so many people worldwide are familiar with one of the ingredients, and that is Manuka honey. That comes from one place in the world, right?
I believe it comes from there's indigenous ingredients are in both areas because we're not that far from each other. So
can you give us or expound a little bit about
still there?
Manuka honey, the benefits of it? Yes, I'm still here. The benefits of Manuka honey?
Sure.
Benefits of
So
Manuka
it's
honey.
widely used in antibacterial, anti-inflammatory. So it's used. People will use it straight. They'll just get it straight from the jar and use it as well. It's got internal benefits as well, obviously as an inclusion in the diet. So, but it's one of those things that's been around, from what I can gather. The indigenous people, have used it within their own concoctions, we'll say. There's a lot of type of ingredients in Australia, like lemon myrtle, tea tree, and lily pilly, and these sort of ingredients that a lot of have been around for a long time, and the Aboriginal people have been using them for a long time in their own sort of home remedies, particularly for skin issues. And they're living out in the outback, in the really harsh outback, so they need a lot of many of them are still, so they need a lot of healing, calming, anti-inflammatory type of ingredients at their disposal. So that's where Manuka honey fits in. So it is found in quite a few different sorts of products that you'll come across in Australia. So it's quite nice just to even have like in a lip balm, or so yeah, it's a lovely ingredient. I work with it a little bit. We do use it quite a bit in the salon, in the back bar, in masks and things like that, but I don't have any of it currently in any of my products. So
Is it something for hydration?
yeah, it does help a bit with hydration. I wouldn't say that that's necessarily its number one benefit, but it is, it's certainly, it's like a clay. You know how clays can be really hydrating as well as antibacterial and purifying and clarifying. It's that kind of ingredient for sure. So I'd put it up there in the same category as like the green clays, or the white clays, that sort of thing. So.
Now, you had mentioned the tea tree oil, or mentioned tea tree as well. Now, is Melaleuca part of tea tree, or is tea tree derived from Melaleuca? Which came first, Melaleuca or tea tree?
Good question. It's probably one that I'm not going to answer correctly. So I believe tea tree is a derivative. So yeah, but you'd have to probably ask a botanist for that one.
Oh, okay. You had mentioned the lily pilly.
Yeah.
And then cacao plums. I'm not pronouncing that right.
Kakadu plum?
Kakad. Yeah. What kind of plum?
It's called Kakadu plum. So Kakadu plum I do have a lot of that in my formulations, because that's actually the world's highest level of naturally occurring vitamin C in any naturally occurring plant. So it's a fantastic one to include into your brightening, lightening, any serums or products where you're trying to work with hyperpigmentation or sun damage, UV damage, that sort of thing. So Kakadu plum's a really wonderful indigenous ingredient that a lot of brands will use it in their ranges. It's lovely, consistency and smell as well. So.
And you do work with quite a few people that are over the age of 50, right?
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
These ingredients that you're using that are native to your region of the world, then would it be something that we would say would be specific for someone who lives in that region? Just like you and I were talking recently about, it's like honey. If someone has allergies, we should be consuming the honey from our own region.
Yeah, look, I think
that you're using.
I think to some extent the answer is yes, because anything it's like eating food that's in season, or eating food that's grown in your area. It's always going to be intrinsically better for the body and skin anyway. But I guess some of these ingredients, regardless of where you are in the world, they're still going to be effective for what your skin concern is. But in saying that, we particularly have, a really high level of women and men who present with sun damage in Queensland, because it's a huge area for that. I mean, we're subtropical. People grow up with a lot of sun exposure here. They do that thing where they'll be like, I'll ask them about their sunscreen wearing habits, and they'll be like, oh, I don't go out in the sun. And I'm like, do you walk out the door? You go out in the sun, do you drive your car here? You go out in the sun. So, I think there's a little bit of, especially with the over 50s, unfortunately, and I can say that because I am one, there's less, they give less credence to the idea that they need to be protecting themselves from the sun. Or if they have had a lot of sun damage, they sort of think it's there's no point, it's too late, why bother trying to improve it? And I'm like, well, we can always get an improvement regardless, because it's just like diet or exercise, it's never too late to introduce those things into your life. So the answer is a little bit, yes and no. It's definitely great to have products that are unique to our environment, and they're definitely appropriate for the kinds of clients that I'm treating here. But I think we have a lovely range that treats all different types of skin conditions. So it's really, it goes across the board. I have a few clients here and there overseas, so I certainly send product to them as well. So.
I'm having to respond to technical support. They're still on with us, trying to see if they can help anymore. So
I think we can.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. That's one of the excellent things about this platform. It will broadcast and stream live to several of my other platforms, a couple of Facebook pages, YouTube, Twitter, and it's called Restream, and they have 24/7 technical support, and within a few minutes, once I contact them, they're right there, and they'll stay with me till the end. And sometimes I've gotten messages from them in the morning. I'm going to put this on quiet mode now, and it's like, well, we quit about 5 or 6 hours ago. What I was talking about, I said everything I wanted to say. While we're talking about the botanicals that you use, there is an Organic Beauty Award. Now that is something that would be similar in the United States to certified organic or organic certified. So you do have that Organic Beauty Award, which you receive that when you launch your new label, right?
Yeah, look, it's probably just like the US. It is a little bit complicated with being labeled as fully organic. You have to pass some fairly strict requirements to receive the fully organic label. So you can't. That means that it's a very expensive and complicated process. I'm not sure if it's like that in the US, but you're not really allowed to call your product 100% organic unless it's gone through the rigmarole. So I think about 90% of what we use in our products is organic. And when I say 10% is not, it just means that it's produced in a lab with botanically based ingredients, but it hasn't been grown necessarily on an organic farm. So it's a little bit of a misnomer and unfortunately, I think over the years, the organic label has gotten a little bit watered down, a little bit, changed a little. So
It has. And then you won the National 2021 Australian Achiever Award. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that was fun. We were quite chuffed with that. I thought I was sort of hoping we would at least place for our state. I really didn't expect that we would take out the national award for the industry category, which we did. So that was really cool. So that's based on customer service mainly. So how well we look after our clients and all that sort of stuff. So they take all those things into consideration, which was really lovely. So we do work. The staff work hard here, and we do kind of pride ourselves on really looking after our clients individually. We're really not set up as a big, franchisee type of day spa or anything like that. We're quite small and bespoke, and we're a little different. We're quite we're quite welcoming and comfortable here. You know, we take a lot of time with our clients. So that's just kind of what my dream of, you know, in the past, what my dream was when I was starting to envisage the kind of business I wanted to have. You know, I wasn't looking necessarily to become a millionaire, but I wanted to have a business that really made a difference in people's lives. So I think we're achieving that. And a lot of that comes down to the great staff that I've got working here. So,
That's amazing, and that's wonderful too, because so many, it seems like now, and especially after the pandemic started, it's really changed a lot. It's like a paradigm shift. But customer support and client support is really top and foremost. And
yeah,
then also having the client loyalty, because you have loyal clients, because
we
you do
do.
all the service that you do, not just because you've won an award, but you won an award because of your
Yeah.
excellent customer and client service. And
Yeah, it was interesting during the pandemic. I mean, I know all countries were a little bit different you know, how things went. We had some lockdowns, but we were actually able to stay open a lot of the time because we offer medical massage as well. So that was deemed essential. So yeah, we did have to stop our beauty services, but I was still doing some remote, you know, product delivery and, you know, helping people at home if they were doing home facials and things like that. But in terms of the body work, the massage, we were flat out. We have an expression here, flat out, means very
yeah,
busy.
yeah.
It's an old slang saying. It means, you know, and because I think people were just very stressed and people were homeschooling, they were working more from their home office, they're, you know, at their desk longer hours. And, you know, so in terms of a downturn in business, we had actually the opposite. We were busier than ever. So
That's good, and it's good that that you do have that type of service to offer.
mm,
Because
mm,
even if you were doing just a massage on the base or something, because I see so many people that really are holding stress in their faces now
mm,
more
mm.
than ever before. It's all from here
Yeah,
up,
yeah, yeah,
your
for
neck
sure. Yeah,
here.
yeah. All that
So
clenching, you know, around the jaw, the mandible, and you know, the glab lines get nice and, you know, steep and all that stuff. So, yeah, we did do as much as we could legally offer, and it was definitely appreciated. So,
yeah, I'm just looking at my notes here too. We did not. I've got something on here about Rosalina oil. That is not something I'm
uh-huh.
familiar with. Can we go back to botanicals again and ingredients?
Yeah.
Where's
Um,
that derived? How,
Again, Rosalina is another one of those local products that it is sort of like a tea tree oil. It's from the Melaleuca
okay.
you know, genre of plants. So that one is a similar to tea tree in what it does. So I include that in, for instance, my detox clay mask has got Rosalina in it, from memory. And again, it's a great one if you're inclined to breakouts, congestion, that sort of thing. So tea tree is one of those, and its offshoots are one of those product ingredients that come up a lot in Australian made products. We have shampoos with it in it. You know, it's a very common. It's almost as common as Manuka honey. Really, it's just around a lot because it's very potent. And again, it's an indigenous. You know, been around for centuries, been used for centuries. So.
Well, it's a new one on me. Uh, if someone is interested, or for those that are interested, not if, because I'm sure there are going to be many that are interested in your products, do you sell off the shelf? Do you ship? How far do you ship?
Yeah,
What
I can. We've got a
what and
website.
where do you?
Well, because I'm a fairly new range. I've been primarily concentrating on Australia, but as I said, I have a few, personal contacts that I sell to because I grew up in California. Obviously, I've got connections there who I work with, but I haven't really gotten into the full exporting market yet. That's a big jump for me. But of course, I'm happy to sell small quantities to anybody who's interested. So they just need to contact me and have a look at the website and see. And I do online skin consultations as well. So, I mean, another thing, about the pandemic is that we've all learned how to do online, like yourself, so much,
Yes.
better. Um, a little bit outside of my scope when I first started, but I ended up doing online yoga classes. I ended up doing online consultations, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's the service is there, and we don't necessarily have to see someone in person because I can, even if I can't get a clear look at the skin through here, I can get photos and I can have a chat and see what's happening. What are they doing with their diet? What's their lifestyle? What are their main concerns? Why? Because it's not a simple, skin diagnosis is not just a simple process. It's when I say it's holistic, that's I sit down and go through quite a big range of topics with people, and they're sort of, I can see some of them sitting there thinking, oh, I never even thought of that, how it relates to my skin health. So stress and environment, intrinsic, extrinsic factors, all of those things that people just think, oh, I've got a pimple, I need to just put something on it, or I've got a wrinkle, I'll just try this new cream. They don't think about the overall picture until they sit down with somebody who really makes them think about all that. So
And in our industry, that is so important. The educating the clients, and that's what my clients will be telling me is I learned so much. I'll say, to a new client, do you want um, me to explain everything step by step, or when I'm making a change in something, or just when you ask me something? And they'll say, oh no, just step by step. And I'll start out before we're even through with the first step. Of course, we've already had a 20-minute consultation from their intake form and gone over all of that. And then I'm
yeah,
explaining what I'm doing, why I'm using it, and
yeah,
how it relates to what they filled out on their intake form. And then finally, probably about 10 or 15 minutes into it, most of the clients, that first time clients, have said, you don't have to tell me everything. But then at the end, when they fill out that feedback form, uh, they will say it was so educational. And it's like, people
yeah.
don't think I'm going to go get a facial and it's going to be educational. That's the last thing that they think.
Yeah, I mean, we usually try to determine whether what somebody's with coming in for with us. I mean, there's always people who just want to come relax, and I don't feel it's fair to dump a whole lot of information on that person while they're trying to relax on the table. But I always offer that service to have a chat with them later, if they want it. But then we've got people who come in and specifically want skin consults, and they want the works, but then it can get overwhelming if somebody comes. I get a lot of women who come in and just go, look, fix this,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, what are you used to doing? What do oh, I cleanse my skin with a bar of Dove, and that's about all they've ever done, so you have to kind of work in fits and bursts with them because, I can't overwhelm them with all of a sudden trying to take home 8 products and understand how to use it and why it's working. And so it's like anything. And again, I always equate this back to like starting a new gym health and fitness regime with food and exercise. You've got to start in blocks. So I sort of look at skin the same. So
Is there anything that we have not covered? And I wanted to say, do you have any products there that you can show that are nearby?
oh
Or
gosh, I
is there,
didn't come prepared. I'm up in my office rather than down around my product range and all that. So I'm sorry, I haven't brought anything with me. I should have had show and tell. But they're lovely little. They are beautifully little packaged. I've got the a mandala, a gold mandala is the logo for the range. I liked the way that symbolized the sort of connectivity of life and the connectivity of our skin health. How there's everything kind of works together in synergy. So yeah, so that's the logo for the range, and they're rather feminine, I will say. Although I know a lot of my clients, their husbands to use it in the back, without anyone knowing, the little pink bottles and things. So,
Well, it is very attractive packaging, and it's
oh, thanks.
so when this is on the Facebook page, which will be Happy Skin Over 50 on Facebook, then put your link in one of the comments.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. You might want to do two different comments, one with your Facebook link, and then one with your product link, or a picture with your
Oh,
product.
sure. Okay. I can do that. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, if you'll do both of those.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, no, it's been lovely chatting. I don't really have anything else to add, just that I guess, I just encourage anyone who's, not concerned, but who wants to make their skin better. It's never too late. There's always something that can be done, and using products should be an enjoyable process. A lot of people are like, I'm too busy, I can't be bothered, but I love putting on skin stuff. I love putting on oils, and so I think it's about letting yourself enjoy that side of things, and don't look at it as like, I can't afford it, or my husband's not going to allow it, or it's important that you look after yourself, and this is just one way of doing that. And we have to remember that our skin starts to kind of deteriorate already with the loss of collagen when we're 25. So
Yes.
it's kind of unfortunately already a downhill slope from there. So but and I have always looked after my skin to some degree, but I was a smoker. I'll admit it. So I did a lot of things too that were not great for my skin, and I probably really only knuckled down in the last 20 years to really start looking after it. So I think that that's an important lesson for people to think about and remember.
And kind of professional grade and clinical grade products are heavier, stronger strength, more concentrated, right? And so the price actually can end up over the long run being less, because you're not having to use as much to get that active ingredient.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely. I mean, they're look, there's products at all price points in the market. For my demographic here, and just in general, on principle, I wanted to make sure that our products were affordable. I just didn't feel it was fair for women to have to pay, $150 for a good vitamin C, or, it doesn't have to be like that. And a lot of times it comes down to how that package is marketed, whether they've got celebrity testimonials. I mean, a lot of it is just the guff around the product and not the actual product, what it cost them to make it. The strength and potency is, yeah, I mean, for us in Australia, you can't mass market quite a strong product, without it. What am I trying to say? The products that you find in the grocery store, the pharmacy, the department store, they have to be made in such a way that they can be sold to the mass market with the least amount of potential damage, which is why they end up with a lot of fillers and parabens and sulfates, all those things that they fill product with, mineral petroleum-based oils. It's not even that it's always a bad ingredient. It's just that they'll put a lot of it in, and then you'll find right down the bottom, oh, there's a bit of hyaluronic acid in this. Oh, there's a bit of, retinol palmitate, so all of those things that we need, ascorbic acid, it's just like a food label. Again, you look at your food labels, and the more stuff that's padded in and the more preservatives, the less efficacy it has, the less healthy it is for you, etc. So skincare is the same. And when somebody picks up a jar of, I'll be naughty here and say Nivea or something like that, and reads through, what they're going to see first is a thing this long of chemicals and fillers, and then there'll be whatever the active ingredient is at the end. So that's done because it's cheaper for them to do it that way, but also they have to do it that way so that they don't have that more intense active ingredient at the top of the list. So
yes, and the promotion of said, they will say skincare professionals, dermatologists recommend, it contains an ingredient that they recommend. It does not say they recommend that specific brand name. It may have hyaluronic acid or the a retin-A in it, retinol in it, a retinoid
Yeah,
in
very
it.
much. Very much.
And
And
that's
the
what
other
they're referring to. So if you break apart those promotions and advertisements, it's listen to what they're saying. They're not saying that that's the brand that all the dermatologists worldwide have recommended.
Yeah, it's tough because,
It just
we all
it's an
get
ingredient.
sucked in by good marketing and testimonials and all that. But, and if you're not in the business and in the industry or in the, business of doing this sort of stuff, you want easy, you want pretty, you want, you don't want to make it too difficult. But, when you spend time with somebody who's more of an expert in the field, they can really determine what it is exactly you need, and that's where the professional estheticians come in.
Yes.
So, you may be able to buy decent product on the market, but you may not be buying the right product for yourself. And I should say, with I'm a 100% believer that getting professional treatments along with your products. Like I don't think products can do everything, especially as we age. And we were talking about over 50s. I mean, it's all about collagen and elastin. This is why we
Yes.
droop and lose our firmness and all that. And yeah, you've got ingredients like peptides and collagens and vitamin C's that will help, spark off the fibroblast process and all that stuff. But they don't, it's just kind of a structural issue here. It's not, like you can have a healthy glow and that will certainly help uh, start some collagen, but it's, like you're fighting gravity. I hate to say it because I mean, you can see I'm hesitating, but we're fighting this gravity all the time, and so that you need professional products that are going to help kind of tighten and firm, professional treatments, I should say, that are going to tighten and firm and help with deeper wrinkling and all of that stuff. So
Well, I certainly agree wholeheartedly there. Our guest has been Lisa Randall with
Botanic.
Botanic. I still say Botanique. With Botanic. Okay, what's the name of your business? Botanic.
It's Botanic, Botanic Skin Nutrition and Botanic Skin Wellness Spa.
Okay, I have that written down here, but it's like I'm still wanting to pronounce it my own way. Okay.
Botanique.
We usually end up or kind of wrap up our show here on Happy Skin Over 50 with asking the guest what or who got you into this industry? Was it as you were growing up? Was there someone as a child that
Yeah.
you admired or something? What happened that you are now a professional esthetician?
That's a good question. I am, well, because I did change mid-career, and I spent a couple of years really thinking about what I might like to do next. So I definitely knew that I wanted to do something therapeutic, something where I could help people feel a bit better in some way. But I think probably, my mother, she was a beautiful woman. She was an actress and had the most amazing skin, something I really remember about her, even to the day she passed. And when you asked me that question, then I sort of, that twigged straight away in my mind. I never really thought about that before. So thank you for asking me that question. But I think she probably got me most interested in looking after my skin from a young age. I was wearing makeup from a young age and all that sort of stuff. So she'd always done that I remember her as a young woman, always looking after her skin. So I think that must have stayed with me, because when I eventually got to a point in my life where I wanted to do something different, that's what dawned on me. And actually, in thinking about it, she, for a couple of years there, she was a Mary Kay consultant back in the day, probably back in the 70s. So she, even then, she was, it was already on the radar. So
And that was kind of one of that business was one of the beginnings of direct marketing and everything. Mary Kay Ash was from Dallas, and so she's done a lot.
yes,
Actually, one of my granddaughters is going to be is a senior and will be graduating from a private school that came from the church that she helped build in the Dallas area. So,
wow,
yeah, she was a very she was a lovely lady and a nice influence. And
yeah.
speaking about the consultants, is that what they were called? They all had to wear their hair back off their face. None of them had bangs, right?
Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah, yeah. Well,
Show
Mary
their
Kay.
beautiful place.
I don't think. I mean, I think Mary Kay stopped in Australia many years ago. I don't know if it's still going there. I'm not sure if it's still a business, but yeah, it was. It's definitely had a long history. So.
Well, in the past, what, 40, 50, 60, I guess, years of it, there have been a lot of new developments and um, in the professional lines and in the clinical lines, which really, when someone is really needing some good skincare, that's what they need to go to uh, their esthetician,
Yeah,
professional care, and get the do the consulting and the booster, whatever it is that is
yeah.
needed, and then go
I
from
think
there.
it's.
I just tell my clients, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's nice that we have all these options, and that particularly we have the more not, when you think about it, most potent ingredients come from nature anyway. So it's nice that we haven't,
Right.
we've gotten away from that real chemically based or lots of harsh peeling or all the stuff that used to be more popular in the 80s. I know some of it still goes on, but I'm personally not really a proponent of it. I do prefer people to just work on restoring the acid mantle, the barrier of the skin, just get it healthy. And
Yes.
even if you got some there's nothing wrong with a few wrinkles. It's like it's this aging gracefully thing that I really like. Now I'm trying to go gray, and I'm trying to let it happen now. And I think it's just we shouldn't be afraid of it because you can still look beautiful and great for your age. And we don't have to try to look like something other than what we are. Let's just be healthy, and health and happiness is what shines through. And there's lots of ways of getting to that point. So.
Yes, there is. Okay, our guest has been Lisa Randall, and if you are watching this on demand, on replay, if you're watching it from the YouTube channel or from Lisa's YouTube channel, I think you're going to upload it to your channel too as
I
well,
will. Yeah.
aren't you? Maybe 24 hours before it's ever on my YouTube channel. My transmission is very slow, and
Okay.
even though it's supposed to be streaming live. So it will be there, and the best place to share it will be from the YouTube channel, Happy Skin Over 50. And so we just want to invite our audience, if they have any questions, you're going to have your website there on the Facebook page, Happy Skin Over 50 as
Yeah.
well. And have it on your own Facebook page and social media so someone can get in touch with you if they have questions about
Yeah.
your
They can. Yeah,
training.
definitely feel free to message me privately on socials or email. And even if you want to set up from overseas, if you want to set up a Zoom or something for a consult, that's great too. That's all good.
It's amazing that we can do this. We were having a little bit of technical difficulty at the beginning of this, but it's amazing that
Yeah.
we're, you know, a long way apart worldwide, and we're still here in real time.
Well, it's nearly 10:30 morning, so it's time for my second coffee.
And it's nearly 6:30 p.m. here. Time for my dinner. So
Yeah.
our guest has been Lisa Randall, and
Thanks
we
so much.
appreciate all of the information that you've shared with us and your insight and a little bit about who you are and where you came from, what's happening. That has been a very, very fascinating bit of information to me. So,
Wonderful.
Lisa, thank you. To our
Thanks so much.
audience, thank you for viewing.
Lovely. Thanks again.